Today we are going to talk about how to have a more balanced home education.
But before we get into it, if you've been liking our videos and liking the things that we're talking about, please subscribe to our videos and also like this video. It helps our videos to get out there and spread the message that we're trying to share.
So, how to have a more balanced home education. We know that now more than ever, home life is busy, super busy. We have work, we have significant others, and with children, home education can start to feel really overwhelming. We want to talk about how can you make this more balanced, and so it doesn't feel like you are doing school all day long and it's taking over your relationship with your significant other. You have to quit your job, so that you can have a little bit more of a balanced experience with your home education. So we're going to go over just a couple things, and the first one is with home education, we really don't feel like it should go all day. Most people that we know, if you're thinking of a traditional 9 to 5 or work day or a traditional 9 to 3 school day, most families, most of us start that way when we start homeschooling, because all we know is the 9 to 3, 9 o'clock we're doing math and 10 o'clock we're doing science. I started that way when I first pulled my children out and started homeschooling. As I get more experience and as I got to know more people, I realized that very few home educators actually do that. If they're doing that schedule, they're usually done by noon. If they're starting around 9 or 10, they're done usually by lunchtime. Now for others, we know that that's a different schedule, so sometimes people have night shifts, and so your education can go from 1 to 3. We want you to start to think more flexibly about when you can teach your children, but also that it doesn't need to take up your whole life. In fact, it shouldn't take up your whole life.
It's because we think that education has to be in a particular way that seems to be the reason driving that all day long process and the kind of the grind of making sure that this happens at this time and that happens at that time. So what might take in the public system a week or a month might only take a few hours when that child has some really refined, very focused.
Big truth bomb, Mike. I was going to say like a day, what they could do in a day, but yeah,
I don't know.
It could be a week.
I've just seen
It's
it
true.
happen so slowly.
The next thing we want to talk about, which is sit down work and focused work. We're big advocates for building skills. There's times, especially as they're ready, to sit down and practice writing their letters. These are things that they just need to learn. And just skill building things with, basic reading, writing, and math. And then after you're done with that, be okay with the kids getting up and having fun.
We'll often hear from people that, we're not just here to play. We're not just here to goof off. I don't know, goofing off is
well, and it's a
play
stress
sort of
for a mom for sure, where it's like, I'm supposed to be doing there's added pressure, because before you gave that pressure to a teacher, perhaps, if you had your children in education, but now you're taking that on yourself, and so you feel that burden of their education's in my hands now. I can't let them just go ride around their bike all day. We've got to do some schoolwork. There's a magic that actually happens when they are playing and when they're exploring. We've known families where they've pulled their children out of school. We know of one specifically where she told us, one year we just decided to pull, I think they had 3 children in school, so a couple in elementary, one about upper elementary or junior high age, and they pulled them out, and they were in a certain circumstance where they're like, let's just do this year. So she said that they very much were on the end of, let's just not do much. Let's go to museums, let's go hiking. They went to art exhibits, they went to natural history sites, but they did do some schooling, but she said it wasn't a ton. It wasn't your 9 to 3, it wasn't even necessarily your 9 to noon, but they mostly got out. And she said that part of it was they weren't expecting to go back to school, but she said their circumstances changed and they actually needed to put their kids back in school the next year. And so she started to have that feeling of, oh no, like, are they going to be on grade level? Are they going to be so far behind? Are they Like, are they people?
Their lives
are they
going to
gonna
be
feel
ruined because once you go down that
know?
rabbit hole,
Yes.
it's like,
yes.
are their
what have I done
lives
this
going to
year?
be completely ruined?
Did I
for
ruin it? But she said that she put them in, and she was shocked. They were fine. They smoothed right back in. They're right in the middle of the pack with the rest of their classmates, and no one knew the wiser of them taking a year off. She told me, there's either one of two things happening. She said, either in us learning this way, we were learning a lot more than we thought, or she said, or the second is there's a lot less learning going on at the public school than I thought. And we would kind of say it's probably a little bit of both. So you don't need the full day. You don't need the full day of focused work to learn some of those concepts, especially you've probably seen some of our other videos, especially if it's very interest driven. Like if it's something they love, oh my goodness, they learn it so fast. And when they're ready, when their brain is developed and ready, they learn it fast. So yes, you don't do 9 to noon. Now, number two is play. Like what do they do afterwards? He mentioned, should I let them go outside? Should they be riding their bikes all around the neighborhood? And the answer is actually yes. There is so much actual natural learning. Play, we always say this, we probably will have another video just on this, where like play has such a bad rap. We think if the kids are doing kid things, it's kind of naughty, or it's not helping them in any way. They're messing around. We say things like this, whereas children, that's actually how children learn, is climb the tree. At Knox, at our school, we thought outside learning was so important, so we set aside time every day for them to go outside, and there were amazing things that happened. In the park where they played, they had named all the trees, and because the kids would climb the trees during that break time, they would make up games together. They would rescue hurt ducks and call the animal rescue. There were so many adventures that happened every day that we were outside, and there are things that you just cannot learn otherwise. There's communication, there's collaboration, there's critical thinking skills, there's curiosity, all those C's. I've mentioned all the C's. They learn those outside and in playing with neighborhood kids and playing with siblings. That's where they learn some of those skills that just can't be replicated in a sitting down, focus on math environment. That is actually really an important part, and we hope that you will start to feel where, oh, that is an actual important part of their day. Those kids need it for their energy, for brain development, just the exercise alone. We all understand that, but we saw so much more.
We wanted to just sort of give also a quick glimpse of what play can look like, and we saw all the time at the school, which we often called our lab, right? Because we were actually trying to put kids in situations where they would continually succeed. We wanted them to succeed at the highest level, and so we were always trying to find even one situation even better. And what we found was that when students actually, where it looked like they were soaking in as much learning as possible, it was actually in these moments where it looked like play. And what they were doing is they were just completely engrossed. It was messy. It was very often messy. It was very often a little bit even loud. It was just in moments where students were completely engrossed in what they were doing. And very often they have no idea what their volume level is. And we would sometimes have to kind of, hey, let's calm down just a little bit.
Bring down the house a little bit.
For example, we would often give students little bits of interesting materials, electronics, or we loved to give them things that they could build with their hands, because we're all really, really good with our hands. It's not just the hands-on learners that are good with their hands, we are all very good with our hands. And we would see all the time this very interesting look in students. It's a look that's hard to describe, really, because it's often associated with children playing. But if you see a child that's completely engrossed in something that is engaging their mind at the very, very highest level, sometimes we'll pass it off as play, but it often just takes on this very almost serious look, where it seems, you can see that it's joyful, but it's also this very intense, joyful look. And it would happen for a long time. We would see students doing this for a really, really long time, where they would be engrossed in this particular thing. You've probably all seen this as well, when students get engaged with something like Legos or with Barbies or with something that they just get engrossed with. And that was what we were always looking for. And we actually would call that play, because they were playing with the material.
So sometimes if you want to get away from that play word that has all that kind of negative baggage, I often called it even projects, where it's like, oh, my son, that's his Lego project that he's been working on for 2 hours, even though he's 6 years old. That's their project. And seeing that as a way that they are learning and way that they are getting in touch with their world and making sense of their world. And so sometimes, I would change play to project, because I was the same at first too, where I'm like, nope, sit down, you gotta, we can't play, I have so much pressure on me because I'm the homeschooler. No, so I had to change it to, and see it, they are working on their project. That is a huge, messy paper project where there's pieces of confetti all over my house now, but that's their project. And seeing that just like very small adults, that's how they're making sense of the world, and that's how they are engaging with their world.
When it comes to bring this back to this whole point of this video, when it comes to trying to bring balance into your homeschool, that very often the kind of low level engagement, kind of skill building things, those do need to happen because you're trying to build some skills in those kids, but that the high level engagement is really what you're looking for, and very often that comes in the form of joyful play.
We talked about 3 things today. The first one is really to thinking you need to have a full day of home education. But especially as they're younger, 2 to 3 hours, most experienced home educators just do about 2 to 3 hours a day of like this sit down, focused on skill building, like your math and your reading and writing type experiences. The second thing that we talked about to help you feel more balanced is to help you understand that play is actually an important part of their learning experience. And the third one that we talked about is just giving you more of an idea of what play can look like, even with your schooling, with your math and reading and writing, that it can look a lot more playful than sitting and doing worksheets. And then if you have any questions for us that you would like us to answer in future videos, please ask in the comment section below. We will try to get to all those questions in future videos. So go ahead and give us some questions if you have them. We would love to answer those.